It's Sunday, September 4th, 2022, and the engineer in the cab here is moving 2 units through Norfolk Southern's Inman yard. In Atlanta, we're lucky to see locomotives from every Class 1 railroad. As these 2 engines pass through this crossover, we get a good look at this visitor from out west, an old BNSF-9 wearing Santa Fe's old war bonnet paint scheme, minus the Santa Fe lettering. There are quite a few switches they have to navigate on their way to the locomotive shop. Whenever I see so-called foreign power like this, I'd prefer that it was upright and on the rails. But unfortunately, that was not the case back at the beginning of June 2022 at this same crossover. By now, you guys probably know that whenever I cover a derailment, I don't speculate about what happened, and I tell you I'll look out for the official cause of the incident. Well, we now know what happened in this case, and what happened a few weeks later when another locomotive came off the rails in this same area of Inman Yard. The information I'm about to share with you is coming from the accident data as reported by Railroad section of the FRA's website. This derailment involving a Kansas City Southern locomotive here at Norfolk Southern's Inman Yard happened on June 4th, 2022. And here's how NS reported it to the FRA. Train 371 G103 traveling south through the 1-2 thoroughfare crossover when the electric switch crossover was operated under their movement, derailing all wheels on lead engines KCS 4841 and the number 1 wheel set on NS 9683. The code used for the cause was H706, switch improperly lined, radio controlled. KCS 4841 is a GE ES44AC, and NS 9683 is an older GE-9. Like many of the derailments I've covered, contractor RJ Corman was on the scene. Its men and machines had these engines back on the rails in a little less than an hour. For railroads, time is money, and the guys at RJ Corman really know what they're doing. Now, back to September when I recorded this footage. It looks like business as usual out on the main line, and here at this crossover. But what is a crossover and how does it work? Here's how the book The Railroad, What It Is, What It Does defines it. 2 turnouts in which the track between the frogs is arranged to form a continuous passage between 2 nearby and generally parallel tracks. Here at Inman Yard, my understanding is that the main tower controls this crossover. You can see that both switches have to be open in order for a train to successfully cross over from one track to the other. Okay, there's one more derailment I told you guys I would follow up on, and it happened in the same area of Inman Yard. This was the scene on June 22nd, 2022. The derailment involved this remote control mother slug set. Here's how Norfolk Southern reported this incident to the FRA. GA01 remote control hump job was working southbound on 2 thoroughfare while doubling class track 32 to class track 43. GA01 struck BNSF 237633, the 8th car in the GA06 consist, derailing 2 locomotives on the GA01, NS 6217 and NS 893. GA06 was stopped on 2 thoroughfare after doubling forwarding track 9 to forwarding track 12. The code used for the cause was H305, instruction to train/yard crew improper. Norfolk Southern designates 6217 as an EMD ST33 ECO, or ECO, and NS 893 is actually something called a slug. It has no diesel engine and relies on its so-called mother unit for electricity to power its traction motors. It looks like NS 6217 had some damage near its cab. Its fuel tank also appeared to be punctured. I recorded it leaking what looked like red-dyed diesel fuel. 893 was also showing some damage. Luckily, there were no injuries reported after either of these derailments. I'll include a link below where you can find all this information on the FRA's website. As always, thanks for watching.